Tebogo is playing with everybody. Guys, he just ran against Fred Curley, Kenny Bednarek, Arion Knighton, and Ogando in the 200. And he just smoked them again, guys. If you look at this race, Letsile Tebogo came off the turn in dead last. Well, not literally, but in dead last in terms of the top competitors. He was behind Arion Knighton. He was behind Kenny and Fred, I believe. And I was shocked. I was like, oh man, Arion Knighton's looking good. He's going to run a 19.6. Kenny Bednarek is running really fast. He's going to run a 19.6. But I was wrong. Kenny ran a 19.5, guys. A 19.5, and he got walked down by Letsile Tebogo, who was behind around 2 meters at the 100. I just have no words what we're witnessing. All I can say is Letsile Tebogo era is here. Like I said before, he's not going to lose to anyone else. The only one who I see beating him in a championship race 100% is Noah Lyles next year. But even then, I will favor Letsile Tebogo based on his racing. Guys, the one thing that Letsile Tebogo has on the 200 over Noah Lyles right now is Letsile Tebogo can run a 19.5, 19.6 with multiple race strategies. Noah Lyles, in my opinion, only has one race strategy, maybe two. But if Noah Lyles doesn't execute right, he's not winning that race, that 200-meter race against Letsile Tebogo, because Letsile has multiple cards up his sleeve, multiple strategies to run the race depending on the competition. And he's really practicing which area of the curve for the 200. He's practicing in which area he's going to attack harder. Because on the straightaway, no one's going to outrun him. Only one who can challenge him is maybe Noah Lyles, but I think Letsile Tebogo is better on the straightaway than Noah Lyles. We saw that in last year's Diamond League. I believe it was in London where they raced each other, 19.4 versus 19.5, where it was super close and Letsile was taking him down. So I think if Letsile Tebogo comes out in Brussels with his mastered curve, because the last three races we've seen from Letsile in the 200, they've all been different 200s, right? Different 200 strategies. And he's piecing up together an ultimate plan for the final in Brussels. And I think that plan is going to show us his true potential. I think he's going to run faster than what he did in the Olympics, which is shocking to say. Imagine running faster after the Olympics, even though you set a top 5 time in the Olympics. That is crazy. And like he said it's going to take more than a world lead to win in Brussels, and I believe him. And guys, I just got to say, Kenny Bednarek, I got to feel bad for Kenny Bednarek, because think about it like this, guys. If Noah Lyles or what's his name, Letsile Tebogo did not exist, we would think of Kenny Bednarek as an all-time great 200-meter runner. Not Usain Bolt level, but probably number 3 or number 4 behind Michael Johnson and Usain Bolt. I don't know who number 3 is behind those two, but Kenny Bednarek, he's literally a top 10 performer. He's run 19.5 twice. He's run so many 19.6s. He wins so many meets. The only guy who was beating him was Noah Lyles and Andre DeGrasse in the performance of his life. And now it's Letsile Tebogo. Like, Kenny Bednarek was the definitive number 2. Like, no one's going to beat him unless you're Noah Lyles on a good day. And now Letsile Tebogo has ascended and kept Kenny Bednarek on the silver platter. Noah Lyles right now is in 3rd place because he was injured and ran trash in the 200. But if Noah Lyles comes back like he usually is, we're probably going to see Letsile Tebogo and Noah Lyles duking it out for 1 and 2. And Kenny's going to be pushed back to third wheel. Even though Kenny Bednarek is not a 3rd place type of athlete. He runs gold medal winning times. Kenny Bednarek, guys, ran 1962 in the Olympic final. That time would have won him gold in Tokyo. That's the same time Andre DeGrasse ran. So it's not like Kenny Bednarek is just like your normal runner-up. Like, this guy, he consistently performs and outperforms himself, or performs big at the meets you expect him to show up and show out. And he does, but there's just somebody who just outperforms him, and it's usually just one guy, one special athlete. First it was Noah Lyles, 3-time world champion, American record holder, and now it's Letsile Tebogo, top five performer in the 200 all time. gold medalist, 43.03 400-meter runner, and as a split, of course, and 19.8 runner. So these are very special athletes who are beating Kenny Bednarek, who's a really good athlete himself. I could say he's a special athlete too, almost. But dang, Kenny Bednarek is getting played on. Well, guys, think about it. When do you see a guy run 19.5 and you're like, yeah, I'm not surprised he lost? Like, we're in a modern era of 200 where maybe the ceiling is not as high like Usain Bolt, but the middle ground or the tier right below it is very special. We have multiple guys who can be in the top 5 200-meter performance of all time. We already got Noah Lyles. We got Arian Knighton with this one-off race. We got Kenny Bednarek, and we got Letsile Tebogo. Like, we got all these special guys running at the same time, all in their primes still, some entering their primes. And I'm just amazed that Letsile Tebogo is doing this at 21. He's beating up proven veterans and Kenny and Noah. And he's only 21, guys. If he doesn't get injured, he's like Johan Blake. He's the 2020s Johan Blake. Johan Blake was so special. I'm like, dang, this guy's going to take over Bolt here soon. He's already close to breaking his world record, running 19.7s. Didn't do the 400, but still, he has that Johan Blake type of shine to him. Like, right now, he may not be the world's #1 athlete, but to those who pay attention and looking at his trajectory, it's a matter of time before he becomes undisputed. Right now, he is #1, even though the rankings may not show it overall. But he's definitely #1 overall right now. I would take him to win a 400 right now versus anybody except Matthew Hudson Smith. That's how confident I am in Letsile Tebogo. And even then, I think he could probably beat out Matthew Hudson Smith if he recovers and execute his race right. Because you cannot fake a 43.03. He ran a faster split than Matthew Hudson Smith. So, Letsile Tebogo, man, I'm the part where I'm really stuck on is how he played with Kenny Bednarek. Guys, that whole race, Kenny Bednarek came off the turn like a shot. And I knew he was running something so fast because Arian Knighton was running really good, and he was still gapping Arian Knighton. And I'm like, oh my gosh, and Letsile Tebogo was far back, so I'm thinking, oh man, this is a 19.6. But the whole time, I'm like, I'm not even worried because Letsile Tebogo was about to make his move. And he made his move at 80 meters and slowly but surely made up the ground and timed it perfectly. It looks like it was a tough race to Letsile Tebogo, but based on how I saw his execution and energy after the race, he was really toying with Kenny Bednarek. Kenny Bednarek ran at 100% of his potential, and Letsile Tebogo was like at 70 or 80%. Made it look dramatic, but he really played with Kenny Bednarek. He took it easy on the curve because he was focused more on his strategy and development than actually keeping up with Kenny. He knew he was going to be close enough, and then just let it all go in the 100 and believed in himself, and he knew he was going to get the win. How do you do that to a guy who's running 19.5 and low 19.6s? What other time in history has that happened? I don't think that's ever happened. And a consistent guy at that. Not some Walter Dix one-off 19.5 or a one-off 19.5 Tyson Gay or Frankie Fredericks, whoever ran that 19.6 against Michael Johnson in Atlanta. No, this is Kenny Bednarek, a consistent performer and a consistent winner in most meets. And you just do him like that. There's levels to this, and we're watching it now, guys. I honestly think Kenny Bednarek is a great, great runner, guys. I think he's going to run a 19.4 someday here soon, which would put him like all-time great. But Letsile Tebogo, I think, can definitely go 19.2 or lower. And that's just a different level. So congrats to Letsile Tebogo. He's playing with everybody. I want to see him and Noah Lyles race each other next year multiple times at 100%. And I'm a predict if they're both at 100%, they're going to break the world record. Both of them. And it's going to be the most amazing 200-meter race in history. And I'm not sure who's going to be able to get that win because it's going to be tight. It's going to come down to 200ths of a second or less. That's how tight it's going to be. So, guys, get ready. Next year, it's going to be Full Storm Tebogo versus the Resurgence and defense of Noah Lyles. And Kenny Bednarek is going to do his best to stay in the mix. That's the reality.